What is the bottom up approach to e-commerce?
Yeah, so it's very simply this, like the bottom of your funnel is the checkout button, and the top of the funnel are things like a Facebook ad or a Google AdWord or doing SEO or getting on Shark Tank. And what I say is in that funnel, below the checkout button are passionate customers and then what I call weird customers. And weird customers are those customers where they don't have your last name and they've bought a weird amount of product. Like in the past 2 months, they've bought like 78 cans of, it's like, I'm sorry, are you drinking 2 or 3 cans of this a day every single day? Like, why? Like, that seems like a lot, you know? And those are often the best and most informative stories. Founders have a story and they tell it again and again and again and again and again. And if they didn't believe it on day one, they certainly do after 5,000 times of selling it to, in this case, distributors, retailers, customers, friends, investors. Our coffee's the best because it has twice the caffeine of normal coffee. And you say that again and again and again and again. If you talk to your weird customers, they might be like, I really like it because it's infused with nitrogen and low acidity. And I have irritable bowel syndrome, and that's why I love it. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've been selling a caffeine story, but there's a whole nother reason that my most passionate customers like my product. And that can inform how you talk about it and who you target with your ads. So bottom up is you start with your weird customers and passionate customers and learn from them. Who are they? What do they have in common? And what are they saying? And who they are and what they have in common should inform who you target with your ads. If it's all 40 to 45-year-old women who just got divorced, fine, target that group of people. If they're all talking about low acidity, talk about that in your ads, skip the caffeine story. Then move up the funnel and get your website to convert properly. For e-commerce, it's 2 to 3%. Food and beverage, 2.1% is the average. So if you have 1,000 people hit your site, 21 people should buy. So optimize your site. You can use tools like Hotjar to look at heat maps of how people are or are not using your site and take out elements of your site that are distracting and really streamline the e-commerce experience. Make sure you have retargeting in place such that you're sending emails to people and following up and building that relationship. Make sure that you have retargeting Facebook ads and so on. So you're really building a relationship. And then and only then do you spend all your money at the top of the funnel. And so you start from the bottom and go up. You don't start at the top and go down as most people do.
Our next question, why is the bottom of the funnel most important by far?
I think the single most important formula for a young entrepreneur to understand is lifetime value divided by customer acquisition cost is greater than 3. And what that basically means in non-fancy speak is the lifetime value. If someone buys $90 worth of cans over their lifetime, which can be defined however you want, a year, 3 years, forever. If they spend $90, how much did it cost to acquire them? And you might have spent $30 on the initial ad to get them to buy. And what you want is the lifetime value to be at least triple the amount that it costs to acquire them. So the bottom of the funnel is all about building lifetime value. If you have a site that converts very well, that will make your CAC, your customer acquisition cost, go down. Better ads, a more performant site means you sell to someone easier, cheaper. But if it's a good product, if you have good nurturing and so on, you can get people to come back and come back again and come back again and come back again. And getting your CAC down is important too. But if your lifetime value is one purchase on average, then you're clearly not selling the product to the right people. You're tricking people into buying your product once with a good ad, and they're never coming back, which means your product sucks or you're not retargeting them. So you have to start with your product and making it really good and something people really want again and again. And you have to retarget them to remind them that you exist, to build that lifetime value, so that lifetime value divided by customer acquisition costs can be greater than 3. You cannot raise a Series A unless that statement is true.
Why is the middle of the funnel important? And can you give me some examples as to that?
The middle of the funnel should just be viewed as sort of like a warm reminder that you exist. Gary Vaynerchuk, who I referenced earlier, has a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And when I asked him about it, he said his only regret is that it wasn't jab, 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 right hook. Jabs are just little, in his definition, are just little bits of value. You know, so let's say that you're a kelp jerky brand. It's a vegan product. So here are 5 tips for, you know, making it easier to be a vegan when you're traveling. You know, here are, you know, here's how to make sure that you get enough iron and so if you're not eating this. Or, you know, it can be stuff that isn't so product focused, isn't a right hook. It's not like buy my shit. Most people in the middle of the funnel make the mistake of trying to convert. But if every time they open an email from you, it's like a sale or you trying to sell them something, they're like, okay, enough. And they'll stop opening your emails. If you're building a warm, friendly relationship where you're actually slowly adding value in small ways to their life, they'll continue to open your emails. And then every 4th, 5th, 10th email can be something where you're like, hey, we have a limited SKU that we're only selling online. Wanted you to hear about it first. Here's a 10% discount. Here's this, here's that. So the middle of the funnel is a place where you build relationships with customers and you really build pressure behind the dam for lifetime value.
What are the best top of funnel tactics to get traction once my site is converting well?
Any top of funnel tactic that is highly measurable. With Facebook, you can run $200, $300, $500 worth of ads, see exactly what's happening. How many people hit my site? How many people looked at a product page for one of our flavors? How many people added to cart? How many people went to their cart? How many people initiated checkout? How many people completed checkout? I can see that whole funnel for Facebook. I can see it for Google AdWords. You know, I can see how my SEO efforts are doing. I can see any number of things. But if someone comes to you selling you a silver bullet of how they're going to get you in front of 40,000 people with their newsletter or this or that or the other, unless it's highly measurable and you can spend a little bit of money to test if it's going to work, don't do it. Like never, there aren't any silver bullets. So just work under that assumption and never spend 5 or 10K out of the gate without having some understanding of how it's going to perform.